We are on and up, monkeys, both at the same time. Can you say that for yourself? Welcome to Monkey Time. It's live on Wednesday. They rerun it. I forget, Carol, they rerun it tonight or Thursday night? Thursday night. Thursday night at midnight, which is Thursday night, Friday morning, I think. But they definitely do, whether it's Wednesday night or Thursday night, Friday night at 11, they rerun it too. So if you're seeing it there, don't call. If you're watching it Wednesday at 8, don't call either because you never call. They always make me sit here by myself, Carol. No, I know, we used to have an hour show, I know, and then you would call in the last half hour, but we only have a half hour now. So you got to get on the phone. 996-6775? 996-6775, monkeys. All right, we got a lot of things to talk about. And I forgot all of them because I had a very detailed list. I was much more prepared than I ever usually am for the show with all kinds of topics and references and links and stuff, and I left it on my coffee table at home. Ed, is it true that I was actually cussing when I walked in the door today? What did he say, Carol? I think he said yes. Oh, I hate when I do that. You know, when you sabotage yourself. When you say, Carol knows that feeling. Don't you hate it when you're your own worst enemy? It drives me crazy. I should know better than this by now. All right, anyway, here's the show on the CD, Carol. Back in the early 90s, when Diggable Planets was out and everything, you know, remember this, monkeys? Some of you, please, you remember this. You know what I'm talking about. It has Loungin', that tune Loungin' that was based on an old Bobby Hutcherson jazz vibes thing. Anyway, Guru was the lead vocalist, listen to me, the rapper. I am old, monkeys. I contain multitudes. Hey, that was a Walt Whitman reference. Carol, how many people you think got that? Zero. Yeah, I'm old. So, lead vocalist of the hip-hop group, Gangstar. No, the rapper in Gangstar, Guru, did, you know, he was one of the guys leading the charge on this fusion of jazz and hip-hop in the early 90s. And monkeys, I mean, I don't know if you were a fetus at that point with, you know, all the rights that the Republicans want you to have. But, you know, perhaps you were just a zygote and, you know, with just as voting rights. More voting rights than ex-felons in Virginia. But I don't know how old you are in 93, but there was a moment there. Y'all who were conscious in 93 know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a moment there when it wasn't just throwing in a little, you know, 3-second Miles Davis trumpet riff over your beats and looping that repeatedly. There was which is what the jazz hip-hop fusion was about for a while. No, it wasn't just dropping in a Charlie Parker sample or whatever and looping the hell out of it. There was a moment when the freeformness of jazz and jazz instruments soloing and the beautiful flow of rapping were coming together and creating something truly musically new. And if you weren't there, you missed it. But the Jazzmatazz album will give you a little bit of a flavor. One thing that's disappointing from the jazz head's perspective is that the rapper won't shut up. I love Guru to death, but there are often times when you want to hear more of the instruments soloing, the rapper shuts up, and then there's 20 seconds of the instruments soloing, and then the song fades out to get to the next rap, you know? And I'm like, ah! So the jazz hip-hop thing had its problems, but there was a moment there when the possibilities it opened up were so brand new. All right. And I'll, if you want, send me a Twitter message or email me, todd@monkeytime.org, and if you like that stuff, I'll play more in the next couple of weeks. So Carol, a couple things coming up. We're talking with some folks from the Institute for Southern Studies. Sue Sturgis may come on talking about environmental and energy issues in North Carolina. The Republicans are going to come back into session on February 16th, I think, Carol, it is? February 16th. And they're going to try to ram through this fracking bill. But remember, monkeys, there's a couple of key things. The oil and gas companies, this is the main one that they're not talking about in the NNO. The oil and gas companies are making these estimates of reserves that are being accepted by everybody in the government that are probably inflated garbage. We're seeing it. That the projections that the gas companies, the natural gas companies are projecting, oh yeah, we've got these, we don't know, we never knew about it, we've got 50 years worth of natural gas in North Carolina, it'll be really cheap. And what they're doing is trying to get investment money. This is my, I am not an economics expert, but you know, I've read enough about it to know that there has been, the New York Times has been covering this great over the past 2 months. There has been, great? Well. That looks really bright on my bald spot, Carol. Is that irised up too high? Can we? My eyes were like big black holes. All right, but they are. That's what makes me so attractive, is that like no information escapes the black holes of my eyes. You know what they call that, Carol? The point at which information and gravity and everything else doesn't escape a black hole? They call it the Schwarzschild radius, named after a guy, Schwarzschild, who came up with the idea in the trenches of World War I. You know how I know that, Carol? Because I read a sci-fi story by Connie Willis this morning called the Schwarzschild radius, or something like that. It's really fascinating. How do you come up with the theory of black holes when you're trapped in trench warfare in World War I, right? Actually, the way she presents it, it makes a hell of a lot of sense that you would come up with no information gets out, everything collapses in on itself when you're sitting in the trenches in World War I. Anyway, what was I talking about? The black holes in my eyes. My bald spot. These are common themes on Monkey Time. And what? Oh, Sue Sturgis may come on. Fracking. What they're not telling you, I'm not an economics expert, but what they're not telling you, these gas companies, is that they want investors to come in and start helping them, you know, drill for all this stuff. So they're putting on their happy faces and saying, look at these reserves of, oh, this reserve here, this is huge, 50 years worth of gas underneath, you know, North Carolina, the center of North Carolina here, and eastern North Carolina. But within the investment community, there have been memos, detailed memos, that have been telling where they're talking to each other, the investors are saying, and the analysts, I suppose is the word they use, the analysts, the energy analysts are saying to each other, well, you know, I specialize in natural gas financial analysis, you know, of these companies, and it looks like what we've got here is an inflated bubble with these expectations of reserves. Has the NNO covered this? It's been all over a couple of the major national newspapers. I haven't seen anything. I don't read the NNO every day. They take it at work, so you know I get to read it, but sometimes we're too busy. But I haven't seen anything in the NNO about the accusations and the memos from people within the energy analysis community, financial analysts in the energy analyst community, saying these estimates of reserves are being deliberately inflated so that they can, you know, create this bubble, get lots of investment, and then cash their own asses out. So that's something to keep an eye on this fracking thing. All right. While we're talking about fracking, Carol, I have to mention, so hopefully we'll get Sue Sturgis on and be able, she's been on before, environmental reporter, lead environmental reporter, and a bunch of other stuff for the Institute for Southern Studies at southernstudies.org. Great website if you want to look at progressive issues across the South. She can't come on before the session starts, Carol, because they're thinking about a trip down to the Gulf Coast again, New Orleans and around that area. Couple things. The whole CNN Newt Gingrich stuff, Carol, from Saturday, from the South Carolina debate, Friday was it? You know, where John King from CNN, this has been all over. I'm coming in late, but I'm going to tell you something you haven't heard before about this, right? That's what we do, Carol, right? We're not part of the 24-hour news cycle. We come in every Wednesday like clockwork and talk to you about something that happened last Thursday. Everybody in the press has been talking about for 5 days, but we tell you something that nobody else has told you before. We have an opinion on this that you haven't heard before. That's how we do here at Monkey Time. So, John King, the CNN guy, starts off the debate in South Carolina, which Newt Gingrich won, by giving Newt Gingrich this accusation that ABC that just aired from an ex-wife, which by the way had been aired before, right? In 2010, Esquire did an article about this. She's been saying this for a while. I mean, everybody knows Newt Gingrich is a scummy jerk. This is not news, Carol. Newt Gingrich is a scummy jerk. No, really. Come on. And does anybody not believe that he actually asked his wife for an open marriage? I mean, as long as we're being outraged and giving him but here's what happened. John King and CNN led off the debate on this with this question. That was CNN's first mistake. Why did John King at CNN lead off the debate with an essentially personal issue that spoke only to one candidate rather than the issues that all Americans would be interested in, right? Why would he focus on one candidate's personal stuff that just got aired? Why? Why would John King start off the debate with that instead of bringing it in later? Why? For ratings. You start off the debate with the sexiest issue you have, which at that point was his ex-wife's accusations that Newt Gingrich was a swinger, or wanted to be a swinger. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Carol. I mean, Craigslist would shut down if it wasn't for bored straight couples looking for a little spice, right? Craigslist would, the personals of Craigslist would be a lot, I won't say empty, because us single people got to get our freak on too. But, Craigslist, there'd be a lot fewer posts on Craigslist if there weren't, married couples up there looking for some strange, purely above board. Carol, I swear to you, I will never respond to a married man's ad on Craigslist looking for another guy. Unless the wife knew. I think that's like moral, don't you? Yeah. That's moral. I pride myself on my sexual morality, damn it. No, really what it is it's practical. You do not want to be getting involved with people who are married unless the spouse is like, yeah, I really don't care. That's really what it comes down to. So, what am I talking about? Gingrich being a scummy. As opposed to us, when we do it, we're upfront about it, So maybe, I don't know. My point is CNN. I mean, I'm not going to diss Gingrich for that too much, but I am going to diss him for being Mr. I am now moral. And he's such a hypocrite. He's such a scumbag. It's so clear. But CNN leads off with this. And if you're going to lead off with it, damn it, Carol, follow through. Gingrich pulls the standard oldest trick in the book. What's the oldest trick in the book when you're caught dead to rights on something, Carol, and you're a politician? Oh, how dare you? That's the oldest trick in the book. And John King, the wuss, and there's nothing sexual or homosexual about that, Carol. I said wuss, right? It just means spineless. The spineless worm, how's that? There's not even a chance anybody can associate that with fag or anything like that, or sissy, or any of those stupid homophobic words. No, he's a spineless worm. He backs down, he cringes and backs down immediately. He leads off the debate with this garbage, and it is garbage because Newt Gingrich is a sack of garbage. He leads off this debate with this garbage, and then doesn't even have the guts to follow up and say, you know what? That's the oldest trick in the book, Newt. He doesn't even have the guts. He folds. All right. That's all I got to say about that. The Gingrich loved that because CNN tried to be all edgy and hip to get ratings. That's why they led the debate with that. So you'd keep watching. And then when push came to shove, they immediately, not even when push came to shove, when push came to just a little push back, it was just like, oh, we're done. No, we're so sorry, It was ridiculous. And now Gingrich coasts on that, and that and his buddies pumping $5 million at a time in his campaign. All right. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Can we talk about but CNN's mistake in leading with that is so obvious. And their second mistake in allowing him to push back and then folding immediately, it just shows how their initial decision to lead with it was completely driven by base motives. Money. That's it. All right. You save that for the end, right, Carol? You let Gingrich stew for a while. Come on, if you really want to get him, you just ignore it for the first hour of the debate, and then, when he's feeling all, then you do it. Right? All right.